Hey YouTube, Ultra Magnum here, and today we're going to be taking a look at KFC Crash Hog, their masterpiece representation of Wreck-Gar. I'm going to rate this guy in a number of areas that I look for in a masterpiece collectible, and at the end I'm going to add it all up to get a final score. So stay tuned to the end to find out how he does. In terms of accessories, he's got a good range. You kind of get this weird gas canister thing which opens up and you can store stuff in. You have a little television. This is quite nice actually, the paint detail on that is good. You get 3 blasters, strangely, so the nice sculpt on them, and it's a nice touch to kind of have the paint finish. They feel a little bit light. That's okay, you know, they're nothing special to be honest. They look okay. And then you get obviously the axe type thing. I don't know what the word is for this. We'll call it an axe type thing. So this is probably something I'm a little disappointed about. This orange up here, I think if that had been painted, that would have been better. This kind of setup just feels a little bit loose. You know, things don't peg in quite as snugly as I'd liked. For me, I think I would rather have had less stuff, you know, 1 or 2 blasters, and more focus on the quality of this, because this is the thing that he holds on the shelf. So yeah, so I think I'd probably knock a couple of points off for that. Final score on accessories, 8 out of 10. On to Poseability and the roundhouse test. So he just flat out cannot do this. There's too much weight in the legs for him to be able to it basically just doesn't offset with the upper body. And also the tension joints here, the sideways, they can't hold the weight of the legs. So that gives you a sense of the center of gravity, if you like, of the figure. Now that being said, he does have a great range of motion in terms of the arms, elbows, upper thighs and knees, and they're all ratchets, which is really great. So he's got sturdiness in the right places, and also, you know, great range of motion in the head. There's just a couple of little bits that are annoying. So one is the center of the weight distribution, if you like. The hands, so they look great, no doubt, but the fingers are just kind of floppy on mine. So, you know, whatever he's doing, these are going to flop around and yeah, kind of a bit annoying. Also, these have a tendency to fall off every now and again, and so do the little orange carrot spiky type things. So it's almost like, it's like a bit like with the axe, you know, it's good, but it's just annoying when you're kind of doing stuff with it. So overall, great range of motion in all right places. There's just a few minor niggles in terms of Poseability, so I'm going to take a couple of points off for those. Final score, 8 out of 10. In terms of steadiness, as I've said, all of the weight of this figure is in the bottom, in the legs, so he's got bags of steadiness. Nice kind of coverage on the feet there, so he can bend backwards if you like, and he won't fall over. So 10 out of 10 on steadiness. The face sculpt on this figure is absolutely excellent. To my mind, it's really top notch. So the sculpt and the detail and the paint application, so you've got the kind of matte cream color for the face, and then the shinier red for the eyes. The beard type thing is rubber, so there's a lot of effort gone into this, no doubt. And you know, the head, the rest of it is great too. These can actually be moved backwards or forwards, so yeah, it's really great face sculpt. 10 out of 10. On to quality, and overall I think the quality on this figure is great. So the paint schemes look fantastic, right choice of colors, nice application all over. You know, you've got different materials, obviously the die cast and the plastic, but they're all put together really well, paint applied really nicely. You have lots of little details like the knuckles painted, the paint on the face is great. You know, all over the figure has good detailing, and is nicely constructed. I think the back could clean up a little better around this part, but you know, it's kind of Wreck-Gar. This is the look of the character. So I think it's really good stuff all round. I'd probably take off 1 point just for a couple of minor niggles. So just some sort of gappiness here, and a couple of the panels at the top are a bit gappy. And like I say, the back, I don't like this. This is the bit I don't like, but these are minor things, and it's only 1 point, I think, that needs to come off for that. So final score and quality, 9 out of 10. On to presents, and I think he's got bags of presents, and it's the quality of the figure and the poseability of it that gives it that, I think. It's the nice little touches, the details, and the fact that he does look very much like the character. All of it comes together to have a really nice look on the shelf for me. I think a minor kind of criticism would be that he's not quite toonish enough for me. He's a bit like a very crisp kind of look to him, if that makes any sense. He's a proper collector's piece, as it were. So, but that's not to detract from the presents, because he does look fantastic. So I'm going to give him 9 out of 10 for presents. The Optimus test. In terms of scale, I think he's probably a touch too tall for me. He seems to be getting up to shoulder height with Optimus, or my Optimus anyway, and that's a little too tall, I think, for Wreck-Gar. Maybe a head shorter, that would seem to fit for me. So scale wise, looks wise with Optimus, I think I'm going to give him 8 out of 10. On to engineering. So this is a bit of a mixed figure for me in terms of the way the engineering is all set up. So there are some great parts, I think, in terms of how the legs are put together. Really solid stuff. It's when you open up the chest and the backpack, for me, that things start to fall apart a little bit. It comes back together again once you've been through the transformation, but I think there's just some parts that have not been fully realized. So once you start to take all this apart and move the flaps up for the transformation, you realize just how thin he is in certain places, and these are kind of key places in the transformation. So I think that's where he's kind of let down a bit in terms of engineering. Also, I think I'm going to add into this some of the floppiness of the kind of the fingers, that I would factor into it, and the way that these things kind of just fall out as you kind of manipulating him. So I'm going to bundle all that into generally good engineering and good solid figure, but he's just let down a bit in a couple of places. It's like a lot of the things with this figure, to be honest. So I'm going to give him 8 out of 10 for engineering. On to transformation, and generally speaking, it's an intuitive transformation. You know where you're starting from, and you know where you've got to get to. But there is one particular bit in the transformation which makes this a real pain, and it's not fun at all. And that is, once all this is untabbed, getting this piece, you have to manipulate it under here in order for this to come forward and be the front headlight of the bike. And to be frank, the clearance just isn't there. You have to maneuver it around on lots of little double hinges, and in the end you're kind of working one thing past another when you really feel like you shouldn't. And also, the head, the way that these things don't have the right clearance to go past the head, again, you're working things past each other. And for me, this is just a real shame. For a masterpiece transformer, I don't expect that. I think I'd prefer if things were engineered so that they would work in tandem with each other. And also, this kind of clearance thing here, some of these plastic bits are not the strongest. So the little join here, and also some of the bits on the inside, I could quite easily see those breaking, if I'm honest. And again, the plastic up here is quite thin once you untab everything. So it's a real shame in that respect. So yeah, overall, not a fun transformation, to be honest. Far too much time spent faffing around with one small part, getting this bit to clear through. Also, there's a couple of parts for me bits, so you know, the wheels you take off and then you clip them back in, and his axe becomes the front forks for the wheel. There's a kind of faffy bit going on with the hands, you know, because they're all loose and floppy. You have to keep tucking them back in to get them square into here. Yeah, just generally not that much fun. And you know, so I don't mind complex transformations. I'm all for that. But when the execution of them doesn't work out and the engineering's not there to back it up, it makes for a chore. You know, so it's a chore to transform this one. So final score on transformation, 5 out of 10. Now, that being said, once you do transform him and get to the alt mode, it is fantastic. It is as good in alt mode as it is in bot mode in terms of quality and look and the way it sort of fits together. All of the good points about the figure in general, the materials, the paint, and the aesthetic are present in both modes in bags. So really good stuff. Scale wise, he's just not going to work with anything, to be honest, because he's just so massive. That's just part of the nature of it. There you go, there's some mass shifting for you. But of course, the size of it does mean that your other bots can ride Wreck-Gar if you want them to do that. So there we have it, and taking that all together, he gets a final score of 8.5 out of 10. That's a really great score, and it's a really great figure. So he's got great poseability, steadiness, the quality of the materials and the paint application really make this figure pop. He looks fantastic. So really happy with this, and I could definitely recommend it. There's a couple of points that are annoying about the figure, the kind of floppy accessories that fall about. The bit in the middle of the transformation is really frustrating, but that being said, you know, you're not going to pose Wreck-Gar in bike mode, probably. I certainly won't be. So for me, this is a definite must-have on the shelf. Really good stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave comments down below, like and subscribe to my channel. Bye for now.